Hello and welcome back to the third episode of the Real Isaiah 1 YouTube channel. First and foremost, I would like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for all the things that He's done for me, for the situations He's pulled me out of, and situations that I'm no longer even in. And if you have any questions on, how to get closer to the Lord, just don't be afraid to DM me on X at the Real Isaiah 1. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce my third guest on this YouTube channel, former WWE superstar and former WWE Tag Team Champion Eugene. Eugene, welcome to the show.
Hello, I'm excited to be on Real Isaiah 1.
Glad I know you're a busy guy, and I know you have a busy schedule, and I'm grateful that you're here.
Let's do it, brother.
Yes, sir. So let's go ahead and cut to the chase. I'm sure you've been asked this so many times. The Eugene character. I know it was pretty controversial with some of the fans, and some of the fans even talk about it today with the character that you played, and it was what was it? Well, how can I say without being, I guess, canceled? Is a special needs character, if you will.
Well, all that was ever said about Eugene was that he was special. That's what Eric Bischoff, Eugene's uncle, told William Regal. He just said, my nephew is a little special, and we let the people draw their own conclusions about what or who Eugene was. To me, he was a simpleton, a comedy character, an underdog story, you know, the naive essence of a child in an adult world of treachery. And, it was a story about a boy achieving his dreams. And so I think it was a great character that WWE had out there.
No, I agree. I found it entertaining, and I know you've had a lot of surprising wins. I think over the likes of Triple H, you won tag team title. That for me that character is iconic because when I started watching wrestling, I saw you. My first pay-per-view that I watched was the ECW One Night Stand. I think you were out there, and I think you got hit a couple of times against the Sandman.
Yeah, I read a poem there in the Hammerstein Ballroom. Eugene read a poem, and the fine people of New York didn't like it very much, and they booed me. And then Sandman came out with a kendo stick, and the fans handed him a second one, and he proceeded to double kendo stick beat me all the way back to the locker room.
Yeah, I remember that. That's a core memory that I have in my brain, especially when it comes to your character. Um, if I may ask, how did that character get brought up? Was it your idea? Was it Vincent's idea, or whose idea? Who's behind this?
So it was my idea. About 2003. Well, let me take you back. I started wrestling in 1996. I got hired to a developmental contract with WWE in 1999. About 2003, the head trainer at the Ohio Valley Wrestling, which was the developmental system for the WWE at the time, head trainer was the Hustler Rip Rogers, and he was always giving everybody ideas for different characters that they could try to present to WWE. Rip's son has autism, and he was the Rip's son was probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 at the time. I guess he wasn't very social in school at the time, but he could do all these masterful things, like he could count in Korean, and he was a whiz on the computer, but he wasn't very social in class. Now the kid's like Kuma Sum Laude of his college out in LA, living the life. But regardless, in 2003, Rip gives me this idea for a character. So I presented the idea to the agents, guys like Arn Anderson or Dean Malenko or Fit Finlay. I pitched it to Arn, and I remember Arn pushed his glasses up like that and says, WWE wrestling's kind of wrestling has kind of gone past those gimmicks. We're no longer gimmicky wrestling. We're more reality based now. I said, okay. This was probably mid 2003, early 2003. A couple months go by. The writers came down to OVW, and the writers rarely came down. So I pitched the idea of a character to them. I said, what about a character that can't tie his shoes, can't put a square peg in a square hole, but the minute he gets in the ring, he knows everything about wrestling, and he does it flawlessly because he's watched it his whole life. And there was supposed to be another layer to the onion character of Eugene, was that Eugene would know all the trivia. Like you could say there was a wrestling match in Rio de Janeiro in 1964, and he would know the main event in the house. You know what I mean? All the stats and stuff like that. So I pitched that to the writers, And I remember the writers like Vince would never do a character like that. Okay, so I put it in the back of my head. 2003 goes on. Sometime early 2004, I had seen guys often complain about being in Louisville, and then they would get called up to the main roster. For me, Louisville was my hometown,
Mhm.
but I understand how other guys had to move there, and they might not like Louisville, or they might be away from their families, or they might have to relocate their families there at a chance to become a WWE superstar. And some of them just they were there on the shelf for a while, and then they would complain, and all of a sudden they get called up. So I thought to myself, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So if I don't complain, I might not get called up. So I told Doug Basham, I said, I think I'm going to quit and try to go to Japan. Now this was early 2004. The internet was out there, but I was not savvy on it at all. I didn't know anybody in Japan. I didn't know how to get a
Right.
hold of it. Bluff, right? Just a straight up bluff. Well, Doug Basham tells Dean Malenko. Dean tells Johnny Ace. Johnny Ace tells Vince McMahon. The next thing I know, it was February 2004. I was sitting in a meeting with Vince McMahon, and Stephanie was in the room. And Vince goes, I want to get back to character-based wrestling. And I just pitched the idea. He's sitting there mulling it over, right? And he goes, the Rain Man of Wrestling. He actually didn't say the Rain Man of Wrestling, but I think it sounds
Right.
better in the story. I'm going to
No,
say he
no,
said
I
that.
go with it. Go with it.
Right at that moment, Stone Cold Steve Austin walked in because they recorded a Saturday Night's Main Event, and I think he was on the Saturday Night's Main Event to promote an upcoming movie. That's why he was there. So he walks in Vince's office. Vince goes, Steve, you ever seen this kid wrestle? And Austin kind of looks down, how he does, looks like that. And he goes, no, I don't think I have. And I said, well, Nightmare Danny Davis trained me because I knew Danny and Steve Austin became friends when they were in Dallas. And Austin kind of looks at me and goes, well, you're probably one of the best. And Vince goes, great, we'll start on Monday. It was like the vote of confidence from Stone Cold Steve Austin. Vince goes, great, we'll start on Monday. We didn't actually start the following Monday. I didn't debut till April, but that's how the ball got rolling, and that's how I pitched the character.
And you were that character for pretty much, I think, your entire run there. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever at one point want to change characters, or was that ever in mind?
They tried to turn Eugene heel at one point, and maybe it was my inability as a performer, or maybe the fans just didn't want to see Eugene as a heel, and it just maybe it's because it wasn't written as well as it could have been by the writers. Maybe it was because I didn't turn or beat up somebody that they really, really cared about. I turned on Hacksaw. Hacksaw is great, but if I would have turned on Shawn Michaels, I would have gotten some heat. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but it really didn't work out. So it just fizzled off after about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And then Eugene came back as a babyface, and people loved him.
Yeah, I mean, because you play that character pretty well, and growing up, as a kid, I'm thinking, why did they let this guy wrestle in the ring? But as growing up, you start to understand the business more, the characters more, and then like, oh, well, like this and that makes sense. When you turn heel against, you say Hexar, right? What year was that? Because it kind of hits me in the memory, but I could be just
It was probably either late 2006 or late 2007 ish,
okay,
somewhere in
yeah,
there.
okay. Because I was already watching wrestling at that time, and I think I do remember something like that. And I thought it was just like, in my opinion, just so random. But I remember it didn't last long, and I know you won the tag team titles with William Regal. Could you take us back to that? How did they tell you were gonna to get the tag team titles, and how did everybody else feel about it?
I don't remember how they actually told me, but Regal and I had a long journey with great storylines until we finally became partners, and then we had a run as a tag team. We get all the way to the tag team champions, and we win in Indianapolis, Indiana. My mother and my sister were in the building, and for me, I always liked it because Regal, they beat me up. I tag Regal. He beats up La Resistance, and he's got the win. And the referee's coming down the pin, and he stops and he looks at me and he goes, no, Eugene's going to get it. And tags in Eugene. I do the people's elbow, and then 1, 2, 3. But for me, William Regal's been a constant character in pro wrestling for 25, 30 years and a great character. But generally, he's always been a heel. And we kind of know who he is. And this was the first time his character endeared himself to another human being. Yeah, he was definitely awesome. I looked up to him before I knew him, and then when I met him, he became a mentor and a friend, and without a doubt, he needs to be in the Hall of Fame, and I think King Charles should knight him. Actually, he needs to be knighted.
No, no, yeah, you're not lying about it. And do you ever see the Eugene character being inducted into the Hall of Fame? That was something I was thinking about the other day, and I was like, it's pretty iconic. I think at least enough. And no offense to anybody else out there, I've seen less deserving inductees into the Hall of Fame.
I don't know if Eugene will ever make the Hall of Fame. WWE doesn't even have him on their WWE.com alumni page. I'm not even there, so I'm not even recognizing the history. But one person I
Really?
think that should be in the WWE Hall of Fame is the Doink Clown. I think Doink the
Is he
Clown's an
not in there
instantly
already?
recognizable character, and I played Doink. Doink's not in the Hall of Fame, no.
No, I was thinking he was. Multiple people play that character, didn't they? Or am I mistaken?
And I was one of them. 2002 Vengeance. I did on SmackDown. I wrestled Benoit, and then on Vengeance it was JBL's Barroom Brawl, which they had a bar set on the floor in front of the stage, and Doink was in it, and the Conquistadors, and the Easter Bunny, and a bunch of wrestlers, and it was just JBL beat everybody up on the floor.
Well, that's interesting. You learn something. You learn something new every day. Okay, so that's something I'm gonna have to go on YouTube and search up at some point today or tomorrow. Um, I want to talk about when I think you were first released from the WWE back in, I don't know when it was, 2008, 2009. I may be mistaken.
It was late '07.
Late '07. Okay. What was that a budget cut thing? Was that we don't have any plans for Eugene, or what went down through all that?
So that was right after they started the health policy, whatever it's called, the drug enforcement policy, the wellness policy, and through a series of misfortunate events, I failed one drug test, and I got released for that.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Now that makes sense. And then you came back late or early. I don't know, maybe mid 2009 or 10. Is that correct?
Yeah, I got rehired in 2009, but then when I showed up, I guess they told me I was out of shape, and then they fired me. I had one match against The Miz on Raw.
Remember you sort of coming back against the Miz? Wasn't it like a man? My memory is so bad right now. It's I don't know if it was a flagpole match or a contract match type situation.
Yeah, it was a
Was that
contract in Calgary, Canada, and it was Eugene against Mr. Calgary Kid which was The Miz with a Calgary mask on,
that is right?
and
And
then I
then
got
they,
beat.
they just, after that
And
match, they
then,
told you that you were out of shape.
well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, because The Miz had lost the loser leave Raw, loser leave WWE match, and then he won the contract back the next week and got to come back. So,
Is that when they told you that after that match that you were out of shape, or they didn't even give you a chance to try and get
well, no,
into better
like
shape?
no, the first time I was there was the week before at Raw, and then they said, "Well, we're not selling old fat Eugene. You're out of shape." And the next week, I wasn't supposed to go, but then the last minute, they took me to Calgary, and then once I got back the next Friday, that's when they called me and fired me.
How was it working under Mr. McMahon?
I thought it was great. I mean, if you were a character that was over and you were making money for him, that's when you were going to see him the most. Like he didn't go out to the bars, he didn't hang out. You would see him come to the arena and shake his hand. But if you were making money for him, then he was working with you. The only time I ever saw him yell or get angry was when he was Mr. McMahon on TV. He was always patient and understanding, and what I saw, listen to people and just almost like a perfectionist trying to make it the best. Early in the Eugene run, I did a thing where I went down and I got the T-shirt gun. We come up out of commercial and Eugene's in the ring shooting off the T-shirt gun. William Regal comes down and he gets in the ring and I accidentally set it off and hits him in the balls. Remember that one?
Man, it's I do not, but my memory is just when it comes to these segments and stuff
All
like
right.
that.
Well,
I just
I shoot William Regal in the balls. Earlier in the day, we're walking through it, and one of the writer intern walks up and he comes in the ring. I'm in the ring with the T-shirt gun, and he goes, "If you can during TV in the segment, if you can shoot JR's cowboy hat off the top of his head, Vince said he will give you $1,000." And I immediately looked at Vince. He was on the floor, he had his headset on. He just gave me like a nod. So when I got out there, I shot that thing toward JR, but I missed him. I mean, he got close, but I missed him. What I should have done was went and told JR and then have him knock his hat off and just split the money with him. That's what I should have done.
Yeah, no, that would have been a good idea. I would have been cheating, but it would have been a good idea. And
There was no rules. There was no rules.
you played that Eugene character quite well. And then, did they ever talk about putting like a singles title on you at some point?
No, not really. I mean, there was not a rumor, but just a discussion about Eugene going all the way to the world title for maybe a week or a month. But it wasn't anything real. Eugene didn't need a title. It was like he's a
No, yeah.
character. You know, it didn't matter if the people would still cheer me. I didn't need a title. Winning a tag title was one thing, but that helped Regal's character because all of a sudden he was the mentor and he's taken to, poor little Eugene. He's extending himself as a human being to someone else, which we've never seen in Regal's character before. So there was no need for a singles title.
No, I agree. And not every single wrestler can win a singles title, or not every single character needs a singles title. Like Eugene being a perfect example for that. Do you think there could be a return? Does that something that interests you? Maybe even if it's just a one off, whether it's a Royal Rumble appearance or just a backstage segment.
I don't know. Never say never, right?
Even if it's just for an appearance. And speaking of TKO, they're moving the WWE POEs to the ESPN. So it's $30 a month. It's a little out of my range, but that's something that's pretty big for the company itself. Did you ever think that the WWE would make it like that far?
I don't know because like it's such a different world media wise now because back then everybody had a TV and you get the pay-per-view through your cable provider and now you can get it on your phone, you can get it on an app. It's like it's so different now. And what I've guessed they would be here, I don't know because I didn't know this was coming, but I would have guessed that they would have been able to change with the times and adapt to the new media, which they did.
No, yeah, and it's paid off in the long run, and maybe not for every single fan who's someone like me who's going to miss paying $10 a month on Peacock rather than going $30 a month for ESPN
Right.
for POEs. It's a hard jump. I'm not saying I won't ever do it, but as of right now, I don't plan on doing it because $10 a month. You can't beat $10 a month.
Well, I missed the straight up WWE network because you had a lot more on demand. At least I thought so. I never got the cock. I didn't go so far as to get the cock.
Yeah, no, the WWE Network was the perfect idea. I'm not sure why they got rid of it. Because I for a while I had stepped out of wrestling, but then I found my love for it again a few years ago, and yeah, hopefully one day they'll after the ESPN deal comes and goes, if it ever goes, they'll come back to the WWE Network, and if not, then oh well. What's your favorite moment as a WWE wrestler? Whether it's backstage or in the ring. What was the vibe like? I guess you can say backstage, at least in during that time.
It was cool. It was like everybody was. I mean, we were all going 90 miles an hour, going town to town, airport wrestling, from Austin to Boston and Maine to Spain. All points in between. But we're like a tight little family traveling everywhere, and everybody was friends. It was cool. It was really cool.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, I can only
as far as
imagine.
moments, like I was in the ring with Hogan at Mania. I got my own T-shirt, got my own teddy bear, got my own action figure, and the best part about having your own action figure is you get to play with yourself in public.
Yeah, and I get fined for it. But no, yeah, I mean, you got to live a dream that most people would just love to do. And who was the I guess you would say the who'd you like being around the most? I guess you'll say when you go backstage or when you're traveling. Who would you want to be your travel buddy?
Well, when I first got on the road on TV, I would travel with William Regal and Tajiri. And then at a certain point, William Regal got drafted to SmackDown, and John Cena got drafted to Raw. So it was Tajiri and John Cena and I that would ride together. And then Tajiri went back to Japan, and then it was Johnny from the Spirit Squad rode with us. And sometimes Cena would just be busy, like doing promotional stuff. So I would ride with Lance Cade, Trevor Murdoch, and generally it was Rob Conway and Sylvain Grenier and maybe Rene Dupree, La Resistance.
Yeah, and you know, now that you mentioned John Cena, I would just go over to the topic with him. How was he like? Because I think you had some moments with him, maybe in the ring. I'm not sure. I could be mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. But John Cena is obviously my favorite wrestler, and I would like to know just how is he like?
It's super cool. I mean, I met him when he first came to OVW in 1999, 2000, when Cena and Batista and Brock Lesnar and Shelton Benjamin and Randy Orton and Victoria all came in that first class. And like he and I became friends then, and then that's why we rode together because we continued to be friends. Super cool guy. I like him. I don't know. I feel like he's a genuine person you see on TV. Like he's a great actor and he has all kinds of range, and he's doing some crazy stuff acting, but good performances. But deep down, he's an awesome guy.
And I never really hear any bad stories about John Cena other than, he quote unquote is very talented, but like he said in his promos before, you either step up or you step aside. And if you ain't stepping up, you shouldn't be going over, maybe. That's how I look at it.
Can't imagine being on that for that long. You know what I mean? It'd be difficult.
Yeah, no, not carrying the company for 10 plus years is difficult, but hey, he's managed to do things that only even the current WWE superstars could only dream of. But if I may ask, who was, I wouldn't say the worst, but who was your least favorite match against?
I don't know. I really didn't have a least favorite match. I mean, when I wrestled like some of the bigger guys, I didn't like when they beat me up. But there was nobody that I disliked wrestling.
No, it seems like everything was with you was if you're making it hard to work with Eugene or wrestle with Eugene, maybe you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I don't like to brag. I don't like to boast, but I was good enough to have a good match with anybody.
Just kind of just proved. I think you can go in the ring and wrestle with anybody. And with the current WWE roster, who would you want to face the most? I say this top three that you would like to face the most.
Whoever's champion, that's where the
Whoever's
big money
champion.
is.
You want that shock win again?
That's right. No, when I was a coach at the Performance Center, Braun Strowman and Chad Gable were in my class, and I know Braun Strowman's released now, but both those two guys are great talents. I think Chad Gable's phenomenal. He can do so much. So I probably want to wrestle him.
No, I think that'll be a kick-ass match.
No,
And
no, no, I take that back. I take that back. I want to wrestle The Miz because the last time I went to WWE, I saw The Miz, and that prick says, "Oh, I had your last match." All smug.
well, I mean,
F The Miz.
considering that he went on to main event WrestleMania and became two-time WWE champion, that's not too bad. Like you said, you were a developmental coach a few years back, and how was that? Did you enjoy it? Did you love it? Did you working with different talents, different sizes, bigger, smaller?
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I was in the first class when there was Ohio Valley Wrestling, and then there was Deep South Wrestling, and then there was FCW in Tampa. All of those companies were independent wrestling companies that WWE contracted with to train their talent. When Triple H was going from just an on-air character to more backstage writing, but whatever his CFO, CEO, KFC, whatever his labels are, when he was making that transition, Vince goes, I want you to go around to every department in the company and spend 2 weeks with them and then come back and report back to me. So he goes to accounting and marketing and merchandise and TV and travel and overseas. And then he went down to FCW and he comes back and he goes, like anything else, WWE has a degree of excellence with everything that they do. The production, they always do top-notch 5-star stuff. And he goes, it's all great, except that developmental is kind of messed up. And Vince goes, okay, then you're going to take that over. So they then started their own training center. So they wouldn't have to contract with a indie company. Not that OVW or Deep South or FCW were bad, but they were just indie companies. You know what I mean? So now they
Right.
brought it in-house. Triple H went to the training facility of the New York Giants, NFL football. and he patterned the performance center after what they have to train their athletes. And he goes out and he gets the best personal trainers, and they've got the sports trainers, and you can watch any video you want. Plus, all the coaches there are 100 years of knowledge. I feel like it made me a better coach, it made me a better wrestler, it made me a better promoter. And if anybody goes there and doesn't succeed, then it's their fault, because every tool to succeed is there.
No, yeah, and then you had the privilege to work with some of those talents, and like you said, Braun Strowman and Chad Gable, just to name a few. Was there anybody else in that list?
I mean, I was there when Charlotte was wrestling on NXT, and Bailey and Becky Lynch. They were all fantastic when they were just starting out an NXT before they exploded on the main roster.
No, yeah, and we've seen the success that they've had so far in the WWE, and which is a good thing. So it's also a good look on your behalf, and as a coach, that it's something you can take pride in, and obviously. And then how long were you there coaching?
Um, I got hired in 2013 and then released in 2015.
You're still wrestling now these days, correct?
Yeah, I just got back from a 3-month tour of the UK and Europe. Got several bookings planned up for the States, man. I'm still wrestling every weekend, doing seminars, doing Comic Cons.
Yeah, it's the schedule. I'm sure is a lot more freer than what it was with the WWE.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'd be gone for multiple days at a time. And now I might have 2 shows in a weekend. That's a lot, where we do a stretch of, I think the most stretch we did of like 30 shows in a row once. The guys in the 80s were doing like 90 days in a row. And that's insane.
Yeah, it's inhumane. I don't think I can do 90 shows. Maybe 30. I don't know about 90. But is it still are you still doing the Eugene gimmick, or is just completely new?
Oh, no, man, it's Eugene. That's what the people know me as,
Right.
Still
Yeah.
Eugene.
Yeah. I
Forever,
mean, I
for
mean,
life.
yeah. If people still love it, I still love it, and why change it? Why change what ain't broken? And I'm sure once if you ever did they ever reach out to you, and make an appearance at the Royal Rumble or make an appearance backstage, you'll get that pop. It's been so long since I've seen you, man, and
Oh, may never know.
yeah, you never know what the Lord has for us. And I think on one Raw you went over Triple H, if I'm not mistaken. Was it Triple H you went over? Was it on
Yes,
Raw or?
by pinfall. It was on Raw.
Yeah, okay, it was on Raw. Okay,
It
and
was in the lead up. Yeah, it was in the lead up to the SummerSlam 2004.
2004. Oh, what
I
was
think
the
maybe it was
what was the
after.
match?
But Randy,
Okay.
uh, it was me against Triple H, but Randy came in and hit Triple H with the sledgehammer, I think, and then pulled me on top.
Oh, okay. Hey, a win is a win in my books. I know. The Eugene gimmick. He was I guess you say steal a lot of the finishers from other wrestlers at some point at times. And I know you used to do the rock bottom. Wasn't that your finisher, or was that just something you did once?
No, I did it several times. I used the rock bottom as a finish. I used the Stone Cold Stunner as a finish. I used the big boot and the leg drop from Hogan as a finish. Eugene
Yeah,
like finishers of the guys that he was fans of.
I was saying, I appreciate you coming on, and before I let you go, and if there's anything else you would like to share to the audience, and what you're doing now. I know you say you just got back from a UK tour. If there's anything else you would like to say, you're more than welcome to say it.
Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel that I've been putting a lot of effort into. It's called Eugene Behind the Scenes, where I talk about my time in WWE and what was going on behind the scenes. And then I'm still wrestling every weekend. Anybody wants to book Eugene, you can email eugenequestions@gmail.com.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And Eugene, I appreciate you coming on out of your busy schedule, and just having a conversation with me. And I know the connection's a little off, so that's why I'm gonna decide to end it just a little bit early, just to make sure everything's okay. And then, yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on.
All right, man. Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.